It may not look like it outside, but it's almost time for the white bass run this year on Salt River. Today we're going to go over some of your most frequently asked questions, but we're also going to touch base on one of the most obvious questions. What's all this going to do to the white bass run this year? It's cold and it's nasty. We're definitely going to wet a line. Let's get to it. All right, everybody, what's all this going to do for the white bass run this year? Ultimately, I think it's a positive. Let me explain why. While most of us probably are thinking, man, this weather is just nasty, cold temperatures, Taylorsville's freezing over, the river's freezing over in the still areas, it's just super cold. This has got to make the run come later. Maybe. I really don't think so. There's a lot of time between now and then for everything to come together. We're going to have a lot of warmer temperatures, warmer rains, and things come between now and that specific time of when the spawn really hits. I don't think that's a problem. The issue with getting them to run is the water temperatures and the length of day. So the more sunlight we have in a daytime period, as the days get longer and those water temperatures get close to 55 degrees, consistent 55 low temps in the middle of the nights, that's when we see that awesome spawn activity happen. Why is this a positive? It's going to make them more aggressive. You got to think, they're sitting in that lake and they're lethargic. The water temperatures are so cold compared to what they've been in the previous winters prior to spring. These fish are going to be more dormant, more lethargic, not feeding. And when everything does line up and all the moons and stars are exactly where they need to be to get us the white bass run this year, I think it's going to be the most awesome 5-year celebration of the white bass run for outdoors in the bluegrass, because they're going to hit it hard. That's my forecast for the white bass run of 2021. It's going to be hard. It's going to be awesome. There's going to be tons of fish. They're going to be aggressive. They're going to be feeding. They're going to be spawning. And y'all are going to have more fun than you have in the past years while watching us do the white bass run. We got plenty more questions. We're going to take in a little bit of this beauty and we'll get right to them. Well, we've already talked about timing. And I think that's one of the top questions we always get. When's it going to happen? Full on run, second week of April. I'm gonna stick to it. That's generally when it really gets going. Yes, you can catch fish further up and even towards the Palmer Road area. You can see today we're at dry dock. I couldn't even access Palmer Road or River Road. It just wasn't worth the risk with as much ice as there was in those big hills you know of. But as you can see, there's a lot of ice. Where the water's moving, it's not freezing over, but timing, second week of April. You'll be able to catch some sooner, no doubt. It always happens. You know, that second to third week of March, we'll start seeing things starting to heat up, but I stick to the second week of April. That's timing. So the next thing is where? Man, we beginner hole. If you go down to Palmer Road and take a right and go all the way down to the end where the turnaround is at, we call that the beginner's hole. Walk straight down to the river, early days of the run, mid-March, end of March, beginning of April. You'll have a lot of fun there. The river's a lot wider, closer towards the lake. Then, as things progress, we move up back towards Palmer Road. About halfway in between, there's an area called the Honey Hole. Then we move down where Palmer Road is at the parking lot, straight down the river. We call that Thunder Point. That's always a good spot. We had a lot of luck there last year. And then about another 200 yards down, further away from the river from that spot, we call the Cherry Hole. Those are our main spots. You've seen them in the videos hundreds of times. They are basically deep pools between the riffles where the white bass like to stage and hide out and get away from the current for a while. We have a lot of luck in those areas. What do we use? I use a 7-foot bait caster rod and reel because I'm ornery. More than likely you're going to want something closer to that 5.5, 6 foot range, if not a little bit shorter. Light mini cast, 4 pound, 6 pound test line, to have some fun. I mean, you'll catch some big fish, and if you do, even on this light rod, it'll be a heck of a lot of fun. But you definitely don't want to use the 7-foot rods, especially if you're a beginner, because there's a lot of tree limbs and stuff to get hung up on and you'll be completely aggravated. You've seen us, it happens. Bait, 2-inch swim baits. We use the little Storm swim baits, the black with the chartreuse tail, and the Berkeley 2-inch 1/8 ounce white minnows. Both are 1/8 ounce, perfect, and we just pop them and jig them along. Okay, the next question. Why am I not catching any? The past couple of years have been a little bit more difficult. Just stay with it. You know, try what we try. If it doesn't work, try something different. You know, a lot of people have luck off rooster tails. We have too. Grubs, live bait. If you can get some creek minnows, that's definitely a good thing. Getting them deep pockets, drag them across the bottom with some split weights, and you'll have a lot of fun. You just gotta keep going at it. Finesse it, try different areas. Don't stay in one spot. We've talked about that a lot. Never stay in one spot. Constantly move. These fish are swimming and moving. They're gonna be constantly moving too. These schools are gonna move. You gotta move with them. So the bite stops, keep going. Next question, water level. That's a tricky one, and that's all dependent upon the weather and how the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers regulates the water levels in Taylorsville utilizing the dam. I can tell you that when that dam is really letting out, it's almost not worth fishing the white bass. That current that it draws will actually raise the water levels temporarily and drop them back down. You've seen it happen. I mean, I had my tackle box float away from me because they opened up the dam in the middle of while we were fishing, and I was out standing on the rocks. So when that happens, take a break. Wait till that dam slows down and come back at them, and they'll get it. Any type of rain we have that bring the water levels up, or any type of cold snaps that we have, give them 24, 48, 72 hours. Let the water levels come back down. Let the water temperatures warm back up, and go back at it. The next thing is water clarity. A lot of people say the murkier the better. But last year that was the case, but years prior, we always had our better luck in crystal clear waters. And they say that's because they hit them deeper pockets in the crystal clears because they want to stay away from, they can see people walking, they can see you, you can see them. And that does startle them, and people getting more active in kayaks and boats coming up and down the river. So that murkier water helps kind of pull them out of them pockets and move them more and more catchable. It's a toss-up. I have better luck in clear water. A lot of other people have better luck in the murky water. If you're in the murkier water, I suggest something a little bit darker, more your black and chartreuse swim baits that we talked about, something with some type of a spoon on it, like a rooster tail. That really helps during the murky water levels. It's almost time. It's almost here. March is just around the corner, and we've got warmer weather, almost 60 degrees on the way. We are ready for an awesome 5-year celebration of White Bass Run here in Kentucky on Salt River. Anderson County, baby. Let's spin a little bit. I think I'm gonna go wet a line. I think we might catch a smallmouth. Let's go try it. Who's ready to catch some white bass?